I'd like to double back on something I mentioned in a previous video about using a causal flow diagram as a basis for your analytical strategy and roadmap. This is a simple, accessible exercise. Really, anyone can do it. It doesn't require any special technical skill, and it's very valuable. You'll see as you go through it, it helps elucidate analytical questions, research projects. It actually helps figure out what data attributes you need in the first place and how you can assemble a data set that helps you answer your core questions. I'll talk through a simple example of an umbrella stand. Let's say it's an umbrella stand, a single umbrella stand that can position itself anywhere within New York City with the sole objective of optimizing its revenue. We have to consider the range of factors that can cause someone to purchase an umbrella from an umbrella stand. The most obvious one being the weather. So inevitably, when it rains, we'll sell more umbrellas. This is important to know, and there are seasonal factors that we might want to be aware of, but ultimately we don't control the weather, we can't cause it to rain. So let's move one step ahead and consider different types of people, different cohorts, assuming it already is raining. So in this scenario, we have two types of people, those who are prepared for the rain and those who are unprepared for the rain. If you're in the latter cohort, that's probably where we want to focus our attention. But this is not just a monolithic cohort that represents everything. There is a ton of complexity and diversity within that cohort that we should be aware of. There are people who are in a rush, who are rushing to a building far away. There are people who are okay to get wet. There are people who are not in a rush, but maybe have no place to wait. Maybe there's no awning or coffee shop nearby to wait out the storm. So you can see how there's an array of complexity. Once you have this one cohort that's a viable prospect, there are different sub-cohorts that we might want to identify. And ultimately, what we want to do is probably figure out which of these cohorts has the most inelastic demand for an umbrella, which one is most likely to buy from us, at different times of day and days of the week. So what we'd probably want to do is build a data set that has some sense of, that has indications of, are there waiting places in this neighborhood within, 100 or 50 feet? What are the common walking paths at times of day? How large is the volume of traffic? How fast is the traffic moving? Any maybe qualitative assessments of where people are going. Are they busy? Are they going to an important meeting? So there's a large variety of questions we would want to ask a data set, so you can figure out what data attributes you'd ideally have. Now, I'm not sure that this data set exists, or if any companies have it, if they've instrumented sensors beneath the sidewalks in New York City, but you might be able to proxy this in various ways. For example, you might be able to use MTA data, you might be able to use some proxies and assumptions. Either way, having a golden set of attributes that you would ideally have for maximum visibility, that's essential. You can approach that over time with clever decisions and make your way towards higher visibility over time. Of course, we're not done. The location of our stand, identifying that in a vacuum is important, but we're not operating in a vacuum. We have to set a price for the umbrellas. The price has a huge impact on, if we're able to draw people out of these cohorts to purchase an umbrella. If we're dropping the price low enough, and if we're raising the price up, we'll force more people to get wet or wait in an undesirable location. So we're actively participating in this network as we change the price. Also, as we attract competition to our location, if we find a good location with no waiting places, with considerable amount of foot traffic and a rush to an important meeting, we're going to attract competitors. They'll set prices. Now we have interactions with competitors, different products. We have to differentiate our product in some way, our marketing, so people see us when they, let's say, come out of the subway station. So you can see how right away, after just riffing on this for 60 or 90 seconds, there's a tremendous amount of complexity that's beginning to emerge about how different variables might cause other things to change, might cause us to do something, and so forth and so on. This is very hard to solve. I don't know if it ever can really be solved, but going through this process, again, the exercise itself helps map out your blind spots, some of the questions you might have, helps you ask more sophisticated analytical questions so you can be very targeted. We want to try to search for this type of place where we might set up shop. These are the criteria for it, right? We will be more sophisticated in how we pose questions. And as I said in my last video, we need actionable inquiry. We don't need actionable data. We need to have an actionable question. A prompt is the key to get action and value out of our analysis. If you do this with your own data set and your own product or service, it's bound to be more complex. You could spend several hours with teammates going through this exercise. It will be, a very engaging exercise, and at the end, you'll be smarter about the causal flow of your product or services overall, or the leg that you're responsible for, and you'll also be able to interact in a much more sophisticated way with analytics, which will ultimately drive you towards more actions, more testing, and you're going to advance at a quicker pace.